Hey, how's everyone doing? This is Oz with Oz Mechanics, and on today's video, I got this 2017 Ford F-150 right behind me. So the issue with this Ford F-150 is that the customer was complaining while he's driving on the freeway at long periods of time, he would notice that there would be a grinding noise coming off from the front wheels. So in today's video, what we're going to try to do, we're going to see if we can try to figure out this issue and then get this vehicle back to the customer. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the system of this vehicle right here. The thing is that this vehicle has a four-wheel drive system in this. And these four-wheel drive systems on these vehicles, they're vacuum actuated. And I do have a video that does explain that, and I'm going to put the link down below. But right now what I want to do, we're going to go to the whiteboard of knowledge and we're going to talk a little bit about this four-wheel actuating system and how it works with the vacuum to the solenoids to the check valves to the actual wheels. So let's go to the whiteboard knowledge so we can talk about this. Alright, so this is our whiteboard knowledge right here, and we're going to be talking about this Ford four-wheel drive system right here. So this Ford four-wheel drive system is actually vacuum actuated, so we're going to be using the engine vacuum to supply vacuum to our system right here to disengage or engage our four-wheel drive. Now what I want to do, I kind of want to go down the line and talk about each component of this four-wheel drive actuator, and we're going to talk about them. So let's start off with the beginning. We have our engine right here. So what our engine is going to do is actually going to just supply vacuum to our system here and is going to allow to disengage or engage our four-wheel drive. And then we move a little bit further, we're going to have our check valve. So essentially what this check valve does only allows one way through. So what we're going to get here, we're going to get vacuum going into the system, but let's just say we stop having vacuum right here, it shuts it off. So it doesn't let it go out. It's only one way in, so it's kind of like a diode. So it can only go one way and it can't go out. So it's just a door right there. And we move down the line over here, we're going to have was a vacuum reservoir. And what this vacuum reservoir does is just a container that holds vacuum in place. And what's the main purpose? Let's just say we are driving on the freeway and we pedal to the metal and we're not producing that much vacuum. This has stored vacuum to keep our four-wheel drive actuator disengaged so we can have two-wheel drive. So that's what that does. Our four-wheel drive, now if we move down the line, we're going to have our four-wheel drive actuating solenoid. And this as well lets vacuum in or it can shut it off. And on this one right here, this is normally closed vacuum. And when we apply voltage to here, it opens up and it allows vacuum to go into our locking hubs. And then if we go a little bit lower, this is where we have our locking hubs right here. And these locking hubs are where the knuckles at, and it actually helps engage and disengage our four-wheel drive. All right, so now let's talk about what can be the issue. What's causing this vehicle, while he's driving on the freeway, what's causing it to kind of grind? Or what I'm going by right here is on two-wheel drive, and then it just kind of, the teeth grind. And these are the teeth on the locking hubs. That's what he's hearing. He's hearing the little grinding noise. And essentially what's happening is that it's kind of engaging. It's partially engaging, and that's where you hear the grinding noise. And that's because there's a loss of vacuum. So what could cause this loss of vacuum? So let's talk about this. We're going to move down the line again and see what can cause this loss of vacuum. We have our check valve right here. This check valve, remember, is only one way and it can't go the other way. So let's just say that this vehicle is producing vacuum, and so on, and then out of nowhere, we're at high speeds, pedal to the metal, we don't have any vacuum. This can happen where that door that doesn't allow it to go back is not working right. So the vacuum that's going in actually goes right back to the engine. That could be one fault there. The other fault is this vacuum reservoir. If we have a vacuum reservoir that has a crack, or there's a break somewhere as well, this cannot hold vacuum, so it just releases out. This four-wheel drive actuator solenoid, thing that can happen here, we can as well have a crack there, or it can be damaged anywhere in the actual solenoid. Is if we move down the line, we can have our locking hubs. So on my last video, I did show the video on the locking hubs and how I tested it out. If you want to, check that link down below to see how they work. These have diaphragms inside. So whenever we pump the vacuum in here, they disengage the four-wheel drive. And what can happen is whenever we have vacuum, it disengages. But if we have a messed up diaphragm, a slow leak, it can, barely grab and cause that grinding noise. So that can be a problem right here. And let's not forget about the obvious, the lines. These lines can be cracked and as well cause problems. So now the main thing is we have to go to the vehicle right now, and we have to test all these out. We have to test the lines, the locking hubs, the actuator, the vacuum reservoir, the check valve, see what is the issue. But right now, let's move to the vehicle and let's try to test these out and figure out what's the problem. All right, so we're in the engine compartment right here, and as we can see, we have some of the components right here. Let's start off with the first one. We have our engine here, and from our engine, we're gonna have our hose, and that's gonna go to our check valve. So as you can see, this is our check valve right here. And we move down the line, we are gonna have our reservoir. This is going to be our vacuum reservoir, and then if we just move a little bit further, this is going to be our actuating solenoid. And then from our actuating solenoid, it goes here, and then it branches off to our locking hubs. And these are the little hose material that I'm talking about. Kind of brittle. After time, they tend to break. On my testing procedure, what I want to do, I want to go ahead and to test out the integrity of the actual hoses and the locking hubs, we can just remove this. So we're going to remove that, and we're going to use our trusty vacuum pump. So we're going to put vacuum into this, and then we're going to verify that it doesn't drop. So let's check that out first, see what happens. All right, to do this test, we're going to use our Mighty Vac. And we're going to get a little attachment right here. Here it goes. And like I said, we just remove this part, and this is going to isolate. And basically we're going to test just our locking hubs and our hoses right there. So here it goes. And let's wait about, let's say, 30 seconds. All right, it's already been 30 seconds. As you can see, it has not dropped at all. So that kind of shows us that at least the hoses going out to the locking hubs, they're not damaged. But now let's try something else right here. Remember, these locking hubs, they're basically they have little diaphragms in there. How about we turn the wheels on each side? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the wheels and see if anything drops. So I'm gonna go and all right, now I just want to turn the wheels and see what we get. All right, this is the front driver wheel. Nothing. All right, now let's move to the passenger wheel, see what we get. And nothing there. All right, that lets me know right here that my locking hubs probably not gonna be the problem, and the integrity of the hoses look pretty good. So how about we move a little bit down the line and see what we find out. All right, now that we've verified that our hose going to our locking actuator and our locking actuator are good, now we're gonna go ahead and test out this hose right here, our vacuum reservoir, and as well, because we're gonna put vacuum to this and this is a normally closed system, we're gonna test this out, making sure that there's not a small little leak coming out from the solenoid. To do that, I disconnected this hose that goes to our vacuum source, which is our engine, and we're just going to hook this up right here. And now what we're going to do, we're going to pump this up. It's going to take a couple pumps, especially that we're trying to fill up that vacuum reservoir. All right, there you go, 10 inches of mercury. Now what we're going to do is wait 30 seconds to see if it drops. All right, as you can see, it has not dropped at all. Look at that, still at 10 inches of mercury. All right, now, so we have, which is we tested our reservoir, we tested out these hoses right here, and we tested out our solenoid right there. What can this be? We haven't tested out our check valve. So let's do that. And what I want to do is take off this hose right here, and we're gonna hook up one vacuum gauge on one side that's gonna pull vacuum, and then we're gonna put another one on the other side to make sure that's holding it. And then once we release the vacuum on this side, the other side should still have vacuum. So let's set this up and let's see if we can figure this out. All right, to do this test, you need 2 vacuum pumps, as you can see right here. And this is my old pump. As you can see, it is not, right now there's no vacuum and it's kind of wonky right here. But the only thing I want to use this for is vacuum source. So this is going to be our engine. And as you can see, it still holds vacuum. It just doesn't have the right readings. So on one end of this is going to be our vacuum source. So this is our check valve. One end is going to be vacuum source, and the other end I just want to read vacuum. What we want to see on a good working one, we want to apply vacuum and see it go up right here, and if we let go, it stays still. That's a good one. That's a good check valve. A bad check valve, we apply vacuum, we see it go up, and then once we let it go, it drops down. So let's give this a little test shot. So as you can see, one end is hooked in right here, and the other end is hooked in to the other vacuum pump. So let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and pep this up. Remember, this is slightly off. Look at the bottom one. All right, you see it's holding vacuum. Now we're going to go ahead and deflate this and see what happens. All right, that is no bueno right there. That's a bad check valve. It should be holding it. Look at that. It's just not holding it anymore. All right, how about we get a brand new check valve and then retest this. So this is making sense right here. Whenever he's driving on the freeway, and this check valve, like I said, it's a one-way street. This check valve gets vacuum from the engine, and then whenever we lose vacuum from the engine, this is supposed to close it off. But right now it's just bleeding the vacuum back into the engine, and then it's prematurely actuating our four-wheel drive. And like I said, hit the video down, or the link down below, so you can see the video on how we actually actuate those actuators. It's pretty cool. The locking hubs, the way it locks it in place is a pretty cool thing right there. So let's get this brand new part and let's check it out. All right, so we have our Ford part right here. This is the part number if you need to know about it. And when we pull this sucker out, I don't know, this is a little different right there. I don't know if they made a better one or what, but we're just going to do the same test and see how this goes. So as you can see, this is a little bit bigger. It has this hose, the whole hose assembly right here. to hook up to our actual reservoir and to hook up to our solenoid right there. But we're going to do the same test, so I just want to take this off right here. I just want to make sure that we're doing the same thing as we did last time. Now let's take off our old one. Put that there. And then on this side, put it here. Alright, so we're going to do the same test. So keep an eye right here at that vacuum pump. And we're going to go ahead, pump it up. Same thing. Now we're going to let this go, see what happens. There you go. That is a check valve that works. We gotta add more vacuum. Let it go. Bam. So this is going to be the main issue that we're going to have right here. And this is going to be the total fix from this. So I do hope you like this video. If you can, please put a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that little notification bell to get all the brand new videos coming out from Miles Mechanics. Hey, hope y'all have a nice day. Y'all take care. Goodbye.